Hello, everyone. My name is Jan Welch, and we've got Michael Kraft here for episode 34 of the Then and Out Blading YouTube channel podcast. Michael, welcome. I see you're playing with the lights.
I got bored during the countdown.
So anyway, this is Michael Kraft. Like I said, he's a good friend of mine, lives in Austin, Texas, which is where I'm from. We spend a lot of time skating together, hang out a little bit. He's come up to Vermont almost every year to visit Fort of Vermont Blading Camp. And Michael is someone who's a very creative skater, has his own style, definitely has his own style and way of skating that's, far from what most bladers do. And it's very unique and cool. And an early adopter of wizard skating. What do you think about that description, Michael?
It's weird to sit here and be complimented always. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to have a good time.
Awesome.
Looking for a good time.
So everyone in the live chat, we got 7 people here right now. Welcome. Ben Sanders in the house, has his own YouTube channel. Very cool. I'd like to say, if you're watching this and you enjoy this show, make sure and subscribe to this channel, hit the like button. I'll have a link to Michael Kraft's Instagram, so you can follow him, Elf with Wispies on Instagram. You can watch all of his videos, and we're going to watch a few of those here shortly. But I think to start out the show, Michael, I just kind of want to get into how you even began skating. I believe you grew up in El Paso, Texas. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And that's way in West Texas, far from any other urban area, good like 12 hours from Austin. So how was El Paso growing up? How did you get into skating?
My sister had been given a pair of rollerblades, like used for Christmas one year from my mom's friend, and they just sat in a crate, like in her shoebox, and she never touched them. And one day she was like cleaning out her room, and they were in the hallway, and my friend and I were like about to go to his house. I must have been in like 6th grade, so I was probably like 11 or 12. And I was just like, I'm going to put on these rollerblades and then try to roll down the driveway. And, it was horrific. I did not do a very good job. But then I tried it again. I was like, I made it down the driveway. I'll go across the street. And then I kept going to his house. And then it turns out I kept going for an additional 33 years or whatever, 23 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm still going.
Do you remember what skates those were?
They were probably Blade Runners, but I remember they were Rollerblade brand.
Okay.
I was at a Blade Run. I don't even know. I don't remember what they were.
What was your first skate you remember having?
My first aggressive skate, I actually was gifted on 9/11. My friend gave me his Swindlers.
Oh, wow.
And I was like so excited because I had like begged my mom for skates, and then she bought me, I had asked for them specifically, these like skates from like Sports Authority. They were just like some rec skates, fitness skates, but they looked cool. And I immediately took out the middle wheels and attached grind plates to them, and they weren't meant for grinding. And I just, I completely ate them up on curbs. And then my friend was like, here, I just got Thrones, have these Swindlers. And I did. And they were like tanks, but I love them. I was so excited to have
That's
them.
really cool. Wow.
And then,
that's awesome. So you had one friend to skate with. Was there more of a crew in El Paso at that time?
When I was in 6th grade, yeah, I mean, I was a child, right? So I didn't have many like peers to skate with. I had a handful, but we would only skate together sporadically. And then they all immediately got into other things. I think a lot of people who started rollerblading abandoned it pretty immediately. There was not a lot to like gain or social cred from it.
I mean, I was in the early 2000s, right?
Yeah, it was early 2000s. And I eventually, a few years later, I like met guys who were like lifers, and they're still going, and we skated together. But early on, it was just me behind grocery stores for a pretty long time, just like waxing up curbs and just like figuring out what to do with skates on, which is literally how I still skate today. We were doing that yesterday for one of the jumbos. I was behind some kind of grocery store, whatever it was. But I was like, what can I do here? Here's some weird metal stairs. You'll probably see it when Cody's video comes out. But
awesome. Yeah, check out Jumbo if you haven't seen it, everybody. I'll go ahead and post a link to Cody's new YouTube show, Jumbo. It's kind of like a reality skating show documenting this session in Austin, Texas, with all the good skaters like you and Broom and the whole solid crew.
Yeah, Medina was ripping yesterday.
Nice.
Gutweiler, Zach, of course, was so good.
Zach's incredible.
Sick. He's so sick. Just a pleasure to watch. He's a powerhouse.
It's amazing because he quit skating for so long and he just came back just as good.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got Al DeLega in the house. Neo.
I met Al for the first time after like internet knowing him for over a decade, maybe going on 2, because we knew each other from the message board, and then I finally got to meet him a couple weeks ago at Bitter Cold.
Yeah, Bitter Cold. That's where I saw him as well. It was awesome seeing him. He actually hooked me up with a poster. Thank you so much, Al. I ordered a frame for it. He told me to get it framed, and that's what is happening right now. And I got the Bitter Cold shirt on from that event, which was a good time. A lot of people were really stoked just watching you skate the little P-rails and stuff at Bitter Cold.
That was the best part for me. I competed, but I was like, I should have skated this park before I tried to compete in it.
Right. I mean, it was a cool contest. It was really difficult for me to find a good spot to watch anything.
Yeah.
And I think I spent probably 90% of my time just chatting with people I haven't seen in years.
Right. I mean, that's a big part of skating events is the like socializing. And I say that, and then I go and I get completely overwhelmed when I'm like having to have like the same conversation 300 times and having like, navigating the like parasocial. We all sort of know each other, but do we know each other enough to like start talking when we walk past each other? But maybe no one else cares about that. Maybe that's just
right. No, I feel that, and it's like you're one conversation and just it transitions into next to the next and the next, and it gets a little overwhelming.
How are you? I'm good. How are you? Okay, repeat 400 times.
Exactly.
No, but not to disparage it. It is fun, and I am going to the next blading event, and I will continue to go to them because I do love it.
And what's the next event you have planned?
Spring Cup is on just bought a ticket to Spring Cup.
And that's coming up like very soon, right?
Yeah, at the end of this month.
End of this month. All right. Are you gonna compete?
No, I missed out. I didn't plan at all, and I think that even the like just free skate tickets that you can get are sold out. So maybe I'll jump to quads and start quad skating for this event. But
have you ever quad skated, or that would be your first?
I technically have, and I was like a deer on ice, like trying to go up a ramp. I was like trying to like sidestep up a ramp, can't do that in quads. You have to use the stops. And I was falling down and begging for hands.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot different, just going up quarter pipes and everything. I got a pair of Kayas and they're okay. Like little grind bars and stuff, but like transitions are a little bit weird. Yeah, I haven't really felt like it's fun enough for me to play around with them more.
I just hate not being in control. Like I want to be good at it immediately, and I'm not. So it's I expected it to be like mostly to like parallel experience, but it was tougher than I expected it to be. I did a couple of grinds. I think like front sides, but it was fun.
The person from Texas who's really shredding on quads is Jaquan.
Jaquan is so good.
Jaquan, if you're not familiar with Jaquan, he's from San Antonio area. He was pretty good on blades. He's competed in all the TSS contests, and he's even better on quads.
Yeah,
he's really good on quads.
Top of the quad game.
Yeah,
as far as
unbelievable.
I'm not like very in touch. I skate with a bunch of really talented and lovely quad skaters here in town, and so I'm like a little bit. They'll like post stuff in the group chat that I'll see, and I like follow a handful on Instagram, but I'm not like super tapped into that world. But I'm excited to like watch it become what I have seen rollerblading become, like really like thoughtful and like elegant, and like there can be so many different ways and directions to take it. And I think it's all exciting that I get to sort of watch this thing blossom in the periphery.
And quad skating has gotten pretty big in Austin since I left in 2017. It was already big, but the scenes changed. I feel like the blading scenes maybe splinter a little bit, different groups, and I've seen people like Iggy having crews that are kind of mixed quad blades. Is there a lot of kind of crossover in Austin, or how's the scene with the quad skaters there, and how's that kind of interact with or work with the blading?
Yeah, I think there's maybe a like larger quad scene that I know exists, like Chicks and Bowls has like a pretty
now it's Community and Bowls.
Oh, Community Bowls?
Community and Bowls, they wanted to be, it's more PC.
Yeah, well, that shows how disconnected I am from even that. But I know that there's like a sort of larger structural like organizing happening, and I know that there's like a queer skate night that's actually happening tonight at Mueller.
Okay.
And
like a just quads or like all wheels?
I think it's pretty welcoming to all wheels. I think it's just, it's about socializing, and everyone, all skill levels are invited and all that.
Okay.
There's not a lot of like Iggy and I have skated and filmed with a couple of the quad skaters. Esteban, it was they just moved, but they were like street skating and doing rails and really sort of blowing both of our minds regularly. Yeah, but as far as like the sort of like core aggressive, I think that here at least that's like still disconnected somewhat. We all skate together at the parks, and everyone is very friendly and welcoming, and everyone, it's like it feels the best it's ever felt just at a skate park. Everyone's super, just like the scooter kids are ripping, the quad people are ripping, they're not even kids anymore. They're like scooter adults, and they're just going nuts. Scooter, it's awesome. Come so far, and that's what I mean. Like watching quads develop into what like scootering has become. It's super sick. I'm excited to see it unfold.
Well, I don't really remember seeing too many scooter kids in Austin, except at like Cedar Park back when I was still there. Has it blown up quite a bit since past few years?
I mean, it's still seldom, and I don't, maybe we just go at different times, because I also try to go in the mornings or like maybe late evenings, because the parks around me just get so packed that I would rather not skate than like wait and then get frustrated and then have to avoid like a swinging scooter or bike or whatever.
Awesome. I want to, if anyone in this live chat, there's 21 people, if you guys have any questions, guys, ladies, anyone has questions for Michael, feel free to ask those, and we will try to get to those. And see if there's any questions so far. Well,
yeah, Sean, if anyone wants to answer questions for me, I would love that.
You can answer questions for Michael, so feel free to do that as well. Shawn Michelson, it's better to be behind the grocery stores than inside of them. Kind of when that came to you learning tricks behind the grocery stores in El Paso.
Oh yeah, I figured. I guess it depends. That's like context dependent. If I was really hungry, I would rather be inside the grocery store.
What's your favorite grocery store in Austin?
This is a rollerblading podcast. My favorite grocery store? I don't know. Someone else should answer this one for me.
All right, let's get back to rollerblading then. Well, Michael French was just in Austin skating. I know he met up with Jason Howard at Buda Park, maybe. And there's been a lot of questions about the synths behind you. You've got a room of synthesizers.
I do, yeah.
What do you got? What's going on? You obviously do music as well.
I bleep and I bloop. I mean, yeah, I have some synths, and they are fun. I can get very into them and I like alienate most of the chat or whoever's watching, but I make like experimental dance music, I guess.
Have you made the music for your videos? I know you've done a lot of videos in the past.
Yes, and this may segue into one of the topics you wanted to cover. I made an entire soundtrack in 2020 to a buddy tour video that I never released, but I made the soundtrack by like mashing up all the skate video songs of my youth, including some of the Leading the Blind songs. And I made them into this like total chaotic mess that I enjoyed making, and it was really fun to make, but it turns out to be impossible to edit a skate video too. So I never made the video. But I There's a couple of like Instagram videos that have some songs that I made that are just like little whatevers.
Is there anywhere else you have any of your music online?
Yeah, there is. There is.
And you want to share it or no?
Not really.
No. So Ronnie, you're gonna have to search it on your own.
Yeah, there's a nonprofit in town called HAM, Health Alliance for Austin Musicians, and they will help pay for your health insurance if you're a musician in town. And so I had to put albums on the internet to prove I was a musician. So I have music on the internet, but it's not anything I would like readily show you or be proud of. It's just stuff that I've made.
That's pretty cool to do that. And you kind of found a way to get insurance.
Yeah, it's half insurance. No, it's great. It's really helpful. I'm very grateful for it.
And people really are into your Korg. Is there a Korg MS-20 back there, or
it is? It's the MS-20 Mini, but the filter is the classic M20 filter, MS-20 filter. So it makes the screeching sounds I want it to make. It's great. I actually am very fond of that synth.
And well, I guess while we're into music, how long have you been playing synths? And does there kind of cross over to your blading life?
Yeah, there's direct crossover because there was a period where every band or every skate video had like the Faint song. Do you remember the Faint period?
I used the Faint song in one of my videos.
Yeah, so I feel like everyone did, and so that was the first band I like really like made my own. I like really liked Dance Macabre. That album, I was a big fan.
Yeah, it was a good album.
And I think that's what kickstarted my like interest in synthesizers.
Oh, that's really cool. I think I used it in like Still This Video for somebody's section.
In Still This Video? Really?
It's one of those videos. It's in one of my videos.
Negretti used one for a trailer, the 50/50 video. Oh yeah, no, you used Agenda Suicide for one of the Kelsos.
Yeah, Agenda Suicide for Kelso.
Yeah. And that was, I think, so related to how I started skating. Steal This Video and Brain If You're Gone were my first two skate videos, and so I would watch them over and over and over and over and over. So it was a lot of that soundtrack is ingrained in my head, and that's partly why I like remixed it. I was like, I wanted to take some ownership of all the like. There was a lot of bad songs used in skate videos. Bon Jovi being first and foremost and stuck in my brain. I know every word to Steel Horse I Ride or whatever. So I like remixed that song and made it
super awesome,
silly and insane, and did a bunch of samples of like the Beatles, and there's a whole Aaron Feinberg thing. Maybe one day I'll put that on the internet.
I hope you do, because that'd be great to see.
It's a ride.
And you've done some. No, you did what was the video you did where you like re-edited Home Alone?
Yeah. You know what? So there was like an internet phenomenon. For me, it was Garfield minus Garfield. Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't.
It was just Garfield comics, but without Garfield there. So it was just John sad and like talking to himself.
Okay.
Like really underlines how like desperate and lonely this guy was in a way that like it wasn't funny or like wasn't quite visible with the Garfield punchlines, right? So it's like dark and sad watching John do this. And I, love the concept, and I love that comic, and I wanted to expand on it. And so I did at one point cut Macaulay Culkin out of Home Alone. So I went in and just re-edited the entire thing without him in it and try to make it coherent. And it ended up being the story of this family who's going to France, and Uncle Frank forgets his reading glasses, and so they have to get back to the house. And meanwhile, these two burglars are breaking into a very weird house.
That's hilarious.
But so that it ended up not being watchable, which is why I never put it on the internet. I don't think I did. But my friend was working at like a food truck, and she had said that someone came up to the food truck, and while they were chit-chatting, he claimed to have done that. And she was like, no, you didn't. That was my roommate, which I thought was funny because what are the odds that someone would see that and then claim to have done it, and then the person's roommate was, I don't know. It was
that's really bizarre. I mean, it is Austin, so that's something that could happen there.
Yeah, word of mouth got out, but yeah, I have a lot of I think I made them all private at one point when I was deciding that I wanted some less of an internet presence, but I had
feel like that was online because I feel like I started watching it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The sex files, the like sex parody of the X Files, I cut all the porn scenes out of, and that's still on the internet. And that's my highest viewed video, I think, of all time. It's like in the
That's on
hundreds
your
of
what
thousands.
YouTube channel or?
I think so. I mean, if you just search the sex files minus the sex scenes, it'll show up. Also, this is a dumb podcast. I'm sorry.
I gotta watch that. That sounds hilarious.
It's like a decent episode of the X Files, I would say. It's better than many of the later episodes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well,
how many views does it have?
So what?
How many views does it have?
Last I saw it was over 100K, and I think that was the most like viewed video I've ever made. And I don't care about it. I don't follow it. Yeah. I just we watched it like a few months ago, and I was just shocked to see.
That's funny. So going back to Austin and skating, how did you end up in Austin? Like, how long have you been there for? And what's kind of kept you there all these years?
I wonder all of these things myself. No, I moved here in 2008. So that was 15 years ago as of this February. So I've been here a while. Not the entire time. I spent some time traveling, doing that thing, and just sort of wandering city to city for a while. And then I joined a band, and I was in a van for a year or two. Just we were driving around all the time. So I was traveling a lot, but Austin was always sort of home base. And I moved here because I grew up in El Paso, and at the time, El Paso did not have the culture that I wanted. I wanted something more music oriented. I had come for South by Southwest. Maybe you've heard of it. And it, as like a young person, it felt life-changing. I was just like being in Austin for the first time after being in like a small border town. I mean, El Paso's not that small, but it felt small, even though it wasn't. There just wasn't, it was very like, it's mostly suburbs is the thing. There's not a lot of like city to it. But I moved here on a one-way, took a one-way train sort of deal, one-way ticket, and was just like, I'm going to go do it. And I met someone, and she ended up inviting me to live in her dorm room with her. And so I lived in the girls' dorm at UT for a few months, and that was fun. I met so many great people here, and I have stayed for the people for a good number of years. And when it's not summertime, it's great to skate here.
It's so hot in the summer.
It's miserable. And Texas has lately been making a very strong case for leaving Texas. So we have been talking about leaving, though. And I feel like 15 years here is like a pretty good stint. So,
and I mean, in 15 years is probably the most drastic change. Austin's changed a lot throughout the last 50, 60 years, but the last 15 is going to be the most drastic change Austin's ever seen.
It's a totally different place than the city I moved to, like several times over. It's not the same.
I also feel like it should be they should just change the name. Because they've tore down everything.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of food trucks, Eric says speaking of food trucks, Michael Kraft inspired me to get the smash burger from the food truck at Bitter Cold Showdown.
See, I am an inspiration.
I had that burger too, and I wasn't inspired by Michael, but it was a very good burger.
Did I tell you to get a burger?
Eric, let him know.
Yeah, take your time. It's not like we're live or anything.
And Sean really liked those burgers too. I liked them. That's 3 for the burgers.
Yeah.
Burgers are a win.
This is now a burger podcast.
And why Cocoa Booter W? I don't even know how to say it. P. Terry's is the best burgers in Austin, and I do really like P. Terry's. And are P. Terry's still cheap, or have they gone up as well? Because P. Terry's are pretty affordable.
They're still pretty affordable.
That's a good burger.
I think their burgers are maybe subpar, but their fries. Oh.
What's your one quick burger? What's your favorite then in Austin?
My favorite burger in Austin? Oh man, I don't know. I don't know, and the answer won't even be worth the wait. So
all right, Eric says yes. You told him to get the burger. Back to your
You're welcome,
skating, because
Eric.
that's what people are here for.
Yeah.
So you're one of the first people I've ever seen on wizard frames in real life. You know, you had them before anyone else in the city. I mean, I don't even think a lot of people in Austin even skate them still, but you had them early on when it was like a new thing. You were wizard skating, and I remember you go in the roller rink with the wizard skates. You got that one kid. He bought like the whole SEBA setup with
Oh
the wizard
yeah,
frames.
I actually messaged him recently, and I was like, "You still got those wizards?" Because I know someone who wants to buy them, but that was when they weren't available, and he said, "No, I'm keeping them forever." So
that's awesome.
You're welcome, Leon.
And how did you get into wizard skating? Like, how did you get in that early, when it was early people to try it out, and like talking to Leon? I know that Leon would send you some frames occasionally to try out. Like, tell me about your early wizard skating and your connection with Leon, and how that's kind of progressed.
I met Leon, very briefly. We didn't say much to each other at Powwow, like 2015, 15, I think. And he had a pair of I don't even remember what size, but he had some wizard frames on them, and I asked to try them on, and I was like, "Oh, these are fun! Look how they're so fast that I can turn. They're agile." And I think some pairs had been floating around, and I just emailed him and asked to like get on the list to receive a pair and try them out. And it's really funny to watch that footage now, because I just have like no idea what I'm doing. I'm just like fumbling around. $20? Oh,
We love you, Michael, from Ignacio.
Thanks. Did he donate money or something?
Yeah, it's super chat something. I don't really know these things, but yeah.
Thank you, Iggy.
And here's Wyco Booter. Used to live in Austin. Okay, Wyoming, Colorado. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. No, I like watched an old part of mine that I put together, and some of my very first wizard clips are in it, and I'm like, I did a Machio, and I'm like just like fumbling around on ledges, like trying to spin around and like figure out how to use them. I had no idea really how to use them. And it had never even like, I don't know, it was like giving me what's a good metaphor for this? I don't know. Like I was on a basketball court and someone given me like a badminton ball, and I was like, "Oh, I know there's something I could do with this, but I don't quite get what it is yet. I just know that it's different." And I mean, eventually I like learned how to use them. But yeah, very early on I was just like still trying to break out of the aggressive skating mindset, and it's very clear that I did not know what to do. I was like totally rigid in my thinking of how skating was. And I feel like even, again, first video was Brain Fear Gone. Favorite skater was Dustin Latimer. So I was like always like trying to like outside the box kind of guy. That was like what was appealing about skating to me, was like seeing skaters who were just like doing something unexpected with skates on.
I feel like Dustin Latimer in his prime, had he had a set of wizard frames, could have done some really awesome skating. Because he kind of had that mindset with his skating, was very creative, like you said.
Yeah.
And unique, and he kind of was before that era. But today it's a lot easier to learn tricks because there's so much on YouTube. There's so many people doing it. There's tutorials. Was there any videos that you were able to watch back then? I mean, I know Leon and the Mushroom guys put out a few things. Did you have any inspiration from any skaters back then? Because there wasn't that many.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mike Torres has been and still is an inspiration for sure. Todd and Joey, of course, rollerblading owes them so much. Like no like direct training or anything. I think that I have like a vague memory of Torres like either asking me if I knew how to gazelle or like showing me, but like it was really just like watching, mushroom blading videos and like trying to figure out what they were doing and how. I don't know that I ever had any like formal, like no one was showing me in person at least. I don't think. I could be wrong about that. That was a long time ago, and I think COVID fried my memory, so I feel like my memory is pretty bad.
Now, there's a lot of trick names. Do you know them all? I mean, there's like Gazelle and stuff, sort of basic ones, but I see these videos, it's like all these names I never heard of, and I
I
can't really retain them
Yeah,
myself. What about yourself?
I this is an annoying take, and I apologize in advance about it to all, but I don't like wizard skating names. Is I hate the rigid categorization of all of it and like trying to link it together. And I understand why it's important to like track the movements and figure out ways to combine them in like having concrete names of tricks to point to like succinctly explain the movements. I totally get why that's useful, but it sort of started taking the fun out of it for me. It felt very exploratory at
Hmm.
first, and that's a feeling I have less of now that there's like it's become a more like defined practice. And
Okay.
I found myself like less attracted to the rigidity of those movements. And I'm like, oh, I have to like link these trick names together. So I sort of have like consciously tried to not learn any trick names other than like lions and gazelles and presses. And I know there's some more animal themed, but I have like avoided learning them because I didn't want them to take away the freedom of movement that wizard
Hmm.
skating had been giving me.
Right.
And I know that's maybe an irrational fear, but that's what I've been doing. So I don't the answer is I don't know um, a lot of the names for wizard movements.
So for me, watching, I learned most of my moves watching them. But the thing with on YouTube, but the thing with watching them on YouTube, all the moves are so fast.
Yeah,
It's hard to retain them. So I
totally.
have to like bring my phone with me to
Yeah.
the basketball court and like watch it like right before I try it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not going to remember like which way to turn and like what edge you're on because it's like there's a lot of stuff going on in all
It,
those turns.
there's that it's a visual language that you only learn through repetition and exposure. And yeah, so now I have like a pretty easy time watching people wizard skating. There's
Hmm.
like some really, really sick skaters on Instagram that I follow who was, if I could appropriately remember all of their names in order, I would shout them all out. But I cannot at this moment. But anyway, there's so many really sick wizard skaters, and I have a pretty easy time following what they do. I don't know if I could do it all myself, but the language is just you learn it through
Hmm.
exposure.
There's
And
definitely a few I really like of the wizard skaters.
please,
Well, the Benji from
Benji,
Toronto,
super sick. Benji's
he's
really
really
good.
good. There's a guy from Germany whose name I can't remember. Again, I can't remember names, but I think I'll go ahead and come up with a list and add them to the description below,
Yeah,
so people can
please.
check out some different wizard skaters. I cut you off. If you want to finish your thought, if you remember it.
Um, we were talking about names. I think that's mostly it. Is I don't think of myself as a particularly like talented wizard skater, to be honest
Hmm.
with you, because I watch people who like do it exclusively, it seems like, and who are like really excelling at it in a way that I think it would. I'm not very practiced, I think, is the thing. I don't go out and wizard skate very often.
What you have done is you've taken your fundamentals of wizard skating and you've transitioned them over to aggressive skating, right? I
Yeah,
mean, you've got
yeah,
a rocker setup on your that you skate, so you're able to like do the swivels and the turns like you would have on a rockered wizard setup. When did you kind of go from like doing just aggressive skating and just wizard skating and then combining the two styles together?
when I
Or like was
mean,
there like a period that you
yeah,
really, because I feel like you're doing it even more now than ever, or is
yeah,
that just you've been posting more now than ever?
both. I think both are true. It hmm. It just seemed like the natural progression. Like I think I was texting somebody this early. I'm going to be plagiarizing myself, but I was talking with someone on Instagram. It doesn't matter who it was, but you know who you are. We were talking, and I was like, it's sort of like it felt to me like having a new set of paints to paint with. on the same old canvas, and I like suddenly had all these new colors to incorporate.
Okay.
So having all these movements that I could now incorporate into all the like regular aggressive skating I was doing, it just, it wasn't even really a question. It was just how I like to skate more, and I really like I feel like I'm meandering, but my focus on skating now is a lot of like how the trick will feel. I want it to feel good. And so sometimes I'll land tricks and it doesn't feel right, and I won't be happy, and I'll be pretty miserable, in fact, if it doesn't feel right. But the pure like physical joy I get out of some of the like flatland moves in a skate park feels so good that I just I love spinning around like that. It's just really fun. I love how it feels to have my legs crossed with rollerblades on. There's a really simple pleasure in just like spinning, pushing my heels in and like getting a little the swivel thing. It's just fun. There's like a pure feeling I chase when I skate lately, and wizard skating has given me that, and I do recommend it to everyone.
I mean, it looks really fun, the skating you do. It also looks very hard and very dangerous. And,
Thank you.
you know, do you take a lot of falls when you do some of these maneuvers?
Yeah, I fall a lot. I do. I think I would be lying if I said I didn't. I try not to. And I try to skate a little smarter now, where I'm like risking less when I skate. Because I'm getting older. I say that, and then yesterday filming with Cody and the Candy Crew for Jumbo, I like slammed my shoulder into this like buzzer box. You'll see the clip, I'm sure. I'm sure he's like working on it now, or maybe he's in the chat now. I don't know.
It is on Sundays. Sundays is his editing day.
That's his editing day. Great.
And if you missed it, I did interview Cody last Monday, right? Or was it like a week ago?
I don't know.
And that's episode 33 of the podcast. You can check it out in this channel.
Cody is, I want to embarrass Cody now by just praising him, but he is so charming. He's so charming. He's a delight to listen to. And he's just like so unpretentious and like so thoroughly himself. He is just a delight to be around. I recommend the Cody interview. Absolutely. He's
very cool. And it gives you some good insight in the name Jumbo, which is hilarious. Like,
yeah,
you don't know what Jumbo means, watch the podcast. And if you do enjoy the podcast on this channel, make sure and hit the like button. It really helps out. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload new videos. And I also have social media. Michael's got social media. I'll throw his Instagram on so you can watch his videos. And we're about to watch a few of his clips, since that's what we've been talking about right now. And I do want to post this from Ryan Kraft so far on the edge. Kraft is so far on the edge, he doesn't have time for names. He just knows what his feet need to make things look cool. And Ryan Rasmussen also lives in Austin. Do you ever skate with Ryan?
I think Ryan's on a little hiatus right now.
I think he got injured, yeah?
Yeah. But I would love to. Ryan is a really talented and just a delightful skater as well. He's such a
super nice guy.
Super nice.
And very talented. Very good.
Super sick. Yeah, watch his candy part.
We're going to watch. Iggy's got a question. Fila Crusties or K2 Backyard Bobs?
Are those hamburgers?
Well, Backyard Bobs is a...
I'm kidding. I never skated either of those.
Was a Krusty really a skate? The Fila Crusty, that's a real thing? I've never heard of it.
Iggy is likely trolling. I have no idea.
Does Iggy still live behind my parents' house?
Yeah, he does.
That's funny. I literally moved. I moved to Austin, to San Diego, 1999. Right after I moved, skate park Austin opens. Like right before I moved back, it closes down. Then I move away like 2017, and then Iggy moves to the house behind my parents.
Yeah, so that was weird.
That's pretty funny. Sean is an expert on everything blading, and he says yes, it was Fila Christie, but I think it was Krusty.
She sounds cute.
Or Smoothie? Krusty, yeah. Fila Krusty.
Yeah, she sounds
Smoothie. Those are silly names. Like they sat in some meeting and they're like, what are we going to call our skates? Krusty and Smoothie.
Gentlemen, I think I figured out a way to save our company.
I hope that wasn't how they're going to save their company, because I think Fila maybe is what skates is what kill their company.
They used to make shoes or something, right?
Yeah, Fila shoes. Yeah,
no, they're fine.
Fila was big. So back to your skating. Let's watch a couple of these clips from you. Most of these were filmed at House Park, but I think some of them are maybe at Mueller or the New Wells Branch Park. I'm not sure, but you can let me know like what's happening here. So the first one, this is obviously House Park.
No,
we just started at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning.
That's the Mueller.
That's not House Park. That's Mueller?
Yeah, it's near my house.
Sick.
Let you know what's happening.
Well, you have to let me know what's happening. But that trick you did, the one where you do your front wheels sliding along the ledge.
Oh, I do
a Seth slide thing right there. That looks like a trick that you would eat shit on.
I think that one was pretty easy, actually. For me, I don't know. That one, I think I did it a couple tries. There were many. I remember having a lot of clips of that trick to choose from, and sometimes I have a hard time choosing between the clips.
That's a trick that I haven't seen anyone. I mean, it's kind of like something I feel like Chris Edwards would have done had he done more like street park skating, because it's kind of like what he would do on a vert ramp.
Mm-hmm.
But besides you, I haven't seen anyone really do that. And I know that like the Kelsos had you in their last edit. And I feel like, although Kelsos are really good, I feel like you've had some, influence on them as well. I
mean,
which I feel strongly that that's the case.
They are just, they're good. No,
they're really good.
As if anyone doesn't know that already. No, they, I think I've had like a very small influence. I've had like a couple trick ideas that they've taken and like really gone to much higher heights with. And it's been great to watch that. It feels like surreal because, as I said, I don't think I have not told either of them this. So maybe if they watch this, they'll know. But, because Steal This Video was one of my first videos. I watched those two skate over and over, and to then be invited to be in one of their videos was like really like meaningful, and I don't know, it felt so like circular in a way. It was such an honor to even be invited to be in their edit that I was just like really, really moved to have been asked, and it felt very I don't know, not rewarding, but it felt it felt good. I don't
fulfilling. It was good. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool that you were in there. I was excited when I saw your name.
Same. No, I'm very appreciative to have even been asked, let alone to have been like shouted out on other podcasts.
You've been getting a lot of shout outs on Jump Street, on Tom Moyes, on Big Biz. Like everybody's loving the Michael Kraft, and those guys are helping get your stuff out there as well.
Well, there is something in the works to anyone who cares. There's working on something.
Very, very exciting to hear that. Let's watch another clip of you. And why none of these are starting at the beginning. Here we go. This is your own Wizard skates.
Mm-hmm.
And is this your normal Wizard setup?
That actually was not that day. I had forgotten my aggressive skates at home, and I had already showed up at the park. And so I had those Wizards in the car. Normally I skate the advanced frame, but that day I was just like really loving how quick the NR100 felt. I hadn't skated them in a while because I'd gone to the fivers, the PR, the 76, and then I went to the advanced, and I hadn't touched the hundreds in a while, and they're so good. I had been recommending them to people as like the first, like as a starter Wizard. And now I'm like certain that's the move.
Which one is it? The NR one? Oh, it's the model?
NR100.
NR100.
Yeah.
So yeah. I was going to ask you what you recommended if people want to start Wizard skating.
Yeah, if you're thinking about it, the NR100 is the way to go. They are, you got the agility to turn, to do the swivels as you saw. You got they're not as unstable as the PR, which is the 5-wheel one. So you can distance skate in the 100 and it's still your like feet won't get more tired because you're like bouncing on different wheels all the time. They're a little more stable. and the wheelbase is not as long as the advanced frame, which I feel like is a good compromise between the NR100 and the PR, because you get the length, but you also get the height of the big wheels at the end. Also a great frame, but I feel like if you're starting out on Wizard frames and really want to explore it, the 100s are the way to go. They are quick and spinny and edgy and just feel very good to roll on.
I had a hard time deciding which ones to get myself, because there's like so many options and the different rockers
and it didn't used to be like that.
So, I went with the PR80s, which I really like. I feel like it's pretty easy for being able to like swivel and whatever.
Yeah.
I think doing the length of the frame is a little bit harder for like heel rolls and toe rolls for me. I don't know about for you, but
yeah,
like the shorter wheelbase is a little bit easier for those types of tricks. How does it really compare? Like how different is the NR100 from like the advanced frame? Like what type of like how's the skating different and like how's it feel different?
I mean, so the immediate difference you would notice is the length of the frame and the wheelbase. Do I have them with me? I do. Forgive me, this may not be even worth the time. They are roughly, can you see that?
Oh yeah.
So there's another
that's a big difference.
Almost 2 inches
of
frame. And maybe that doesn't sound like a lot. It's a lot.
That's definitely, it looks like a lot compared to side by side.
Yeah, they so they're, I mean, I don't know if he calls them advanced for like marketing reasons or because they're not great for beginners. They're probably not. That length is probably going to trip you up if you've never done it before, or if you're not used to. Speaking of tripping up, nice angle of my ceiling. I would say that the advantages are, they feel to me like a fusion of the 100 and the NR and the PR, in that they are more agile, but they are not. The advantage of the NR is that they are more stable and quick. The advantage of the PR would be that you have. They're more agile. They're quicker. You'll spin more if you're trying to do like spin flat ground tricks. The PR is very good at those. And this seems like the two married together in a way that I felt was like the bridge that both frames needed. Because you have a longer wheelbase, so they're more stable, but they also have the smaller wheels. And let's just see where it goes.
What is this? What's happening?
This is a lamp I made. It was 3D printed on the 3D printer here.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
This is a disco ball.
Yeah, look at that.
And, someone asked about synths. That's my Hydra synth. I got the Mini Freak. I got a Nord Lead 2. There's a Neutron Behringer and the MS-20, and then a bunch of Casios and a Microkorg back there. And there's a Volca somewhere. Anyway, synth lords, nerd out. Anyway, the Wizard skating, fun, good time, recommend it. You go, woo!
Back to synths and rollerblading.
Yes.
Michael Stein, another Texas skater. And
I was hoping we would
God, right? If you're not familiar with him, he was part of the duo that scored the music for Stranger Things. He's in a band called Survive. And he was a very talented skater in a bunch of old Texas videos. And he was still skating a little bit when I was in Austin before he moved to LA. I don't know what his deal is now, but he has so many synths. I mean, his thing is his room. He's got the synth that they use for like Star Wars with all the little plugs and stuff.
Yeah, his modular setups are.
Did you ever see his setups in person?
I have seen photos and like videos on the internet, and my partner visited the studio maybe last year, 2 years ago, and described it being wall to wall, like the entire wall is covered of a very large room in synthesizers. And this may not be correct. I may be starting a rumor here, but I think the entire modular setup that was used for the Stranger Things soundtrack is like untouched and like just as it was when they like made the soundtrack. I think they're like maybe afraid to lose the patch. But that could be a rumor. I'm just making up.
I have no idea, but that sounds like an awesome rumor.
Michael Stein, his Newspeak part, if no one in this chat, I don't know if anyone watching this is, I guess you're already on YouTube if you're watching this. Search Michael Stein Newspeak, one word, Newspeak. It's a 2-part section. It's so good. He was the like underrated like creative skater of the mid-aughts, and the rumor I actually have heard about that part is that he did every trick within 3 tries. I don't know if that's true, but it's crazy to think about some of those tricks being done within 3 tries. That was like a hugely inspirational part to me too as a young skater. So
I'm going to go ahead and post that section below. I wrote it down. I'll go ahead and post that when we're done with the interview. I'll go ahead and add that so people can check that out. If you're watching this later, for everybody now, check out Newspeak on YouTube. Michael Stein. It is Michael Langhausen made that video, right?
Yeah.
And the whole video is good. Like
Yeah.
that, I recommend the whole video documenting mostly Dallas skaters from that era.
And it was like an artsy skate video, which you did not. We talked about I talked to, and you talked about Jake Urink recently, and he was another talented artistic skate video maker. And I wish there were more of those. Pat Lennon also making incredible artsy skate videos. The Apple series, all those videos, so good.
Yeah, I feel like Texas really did have. I don't know if it's just because I wasn't paying attention, but I feel like a lot of video makers compared to other states.
Lots of big cities in Texas.
You know, a lot of skaters too. I mean, throughout the years.
Yeah, Dallas still probably does have a huge scene. I don't know. I have not. I'm out of touch with Dallas.
I feel like Dallas is still big. The city that seems to have not kind of lost their scene is Houston.
Yeah. I don't go down there much. Still that great skate park, the South Side.
That's a great skate park.
The one. It's like, I think they claim it's the biggest skate park in Texas, but I think it's just by like land size, like parcel size dedicated to it. And I think most of it's not park skating, but like grass and trees.
Right.
So they're kind of, a little misleading on the title, but it is a big park and it was very fun. I would love to go back there.
That park is cool. I went out there a couple of times. It's very, very hot though in the summertime. That concrete
that's the thing.
If
anyone illuminates wants to every summer, and let me snowbird Texas, I would love that.
So let me see. We have. Do you know if Survive broke up or not? Because I haven't heard anything about them in a while.
Who?
Michael Stein's band Survive.
Did the band break up?
Yeah. Do you know are they still playing? Do you know?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea either. Kraft is dead mouse on blades. Love it. And then Stein was fucking sick. Rough Machios on point.
Yeah. The only thing I think that didn't hold up was the haircut, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, his hair definitely. I mean, it's gone now, right? From the
it's gone now.
Era.
Now, sorry if you're listening to this.
On to like Texas heat. We just talked about Houston parks. All the parks are so hot. Like they don't really have shade. They don't have, they just don't cater to people's needs in the heat. Now, in the summertime, every summer for the past 5 years, you've come to Vermont.
Yeah.
For my Vermont New England Blade Camp event. I guess you can like tell people what that's like, why you enjoy it so much, what brings you back every year.
Are you trying to get a commercial out of me?
and tie in. I'd like to hear also about Buddy Tour because Buddy Tour is always part of it.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Sorry, I'm changing the lighting somewhat. Am I too yellow?
No, you look fine.
Do I look like Bart Simpson? I guess I look like Homer more now. Vermont trip. It's usually every July or August. It's my favorite like camp and skate event. I really sincerely enjoy it, and not just because I'm on Jan's podcast talking about Jan's event, but it's gorgeous. The skating's fun. It's still relatively small, so that no one's like fighting at the skate parks over obstacles. You get to skate. You get to go swim in beautiful water. You get great food. You get great beer if you're into that. It's scenic. It's green. You get to see old houses. You get to see old buildings. mountains, birds. Oh, it's gorgeous. Vermont's just a really beautiful place, and it is sincerely worth going on. I believe Ian, maybe Torres, maybe Grant are coming this year. I've not bought a ticket yet, but I fully intend to come this year.
Well, it'd be great to see you again, and all those guys. Another highlight that everyone who comes near my house, which is the last 2 nights of camping,
Yeah,
is
beautiful.
Bread and Puppet.
Bread and Puppet.
which
Was
is-
Bread and Puppet? Yeah. Trouble Puppet's Austin. Bread and Puppet is
yeah, Bread and Puppet's
Yeah.
the wild.
It is wild.
Like puppeteers, like they make all sorts of crazy art, and it's just a wild commune type of place.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it, but I think it's a cult. Is it?
I think it is a cult too.
It's a cult. Oh, it's pretty.
They all wear white.
Yeah.
You know, but it's definitely cool. And
who walks in.
I'll go ahead and post a link to this year's event in the description below, so you can check out what the dates are, and I'll post some guides I've done in the past, so you can see photos of the parks, the swimming holes, because really swimming is just as good as the skating.
For sure.
The spots are incredible.
The water's not too cold, but it's cold enough that it feels so good on a sore body. It's really nice. Oh, and the lobster rolls in Connecticut. Let's talk lobster. Let's not, because it's a skating podcast, but later on we'll text lobster. Best lobster spots. Also, is it ethical? We'll text about that too. Stay tuned.
If you guys have any questions for Michael, again, go ahead and leave those in the chat. We got a couple comments. Super annoyed that Michael's webcam refuses to focus on his face.
Yeah, I think it's a lighting issue. I'm sorry about that. Let me get a free show.
Al, thank you for your input. We appreciate it.
I can move also. The lighting here is fading. How's this?
That looks good to me. Al, let us know how it looks in your end. Yeah, you definitely look a lot crisper.
Cool. Put on my look.
Sean Michael said, a cult that plays with puppets. Yes, I will message you later, Sean, and send you a link to their website so you can check it out.
It's like a political project. There was a period where people were doing political performance art and puppets were a way. Not a particularly effective way, but it was a way. Mm-hmm. And this is the sort of lingering museum to that era.
They started in the 60s in New York, and they still perform all over Vermont and New England. They have traveling circuses, they do parades, all sorts of stuff. It's very bizarre, and if you come up here, it's definitely a highlight to check out their museum because the art is wild. I was going to say, okay, and then Buddy Tour. So Buddy Tour, what is the Buddy Tour? It's a group of friends.
Oh, it's
and you've made a bunch of videos every year.
Some videos.
So I kind of give us a little breakdown on like how you guys started this group of friends into traveling together and making videos. And I know it's kind of rotated some cast every year to some different people. But yeah, I'd like to hear a little bit about the Buddy crew and the tour videos.
Yeah, the first one was just I think Ian invited me out. He may have even flown me out. I think he whatever. I flew to Tampa, and we were just gonna skate together for a few days and like make a video about it. And I think we like jokingly called it Buddy Tour a couple times, and then we're like, well, we can't call it that. That's too stupid. And of course, we called it that. We just decided to call it that. And then he came through Austin, and we made another one. He made a few more, came back a couple years later when we did number 5. And then I think we all, how did 6 happen? I went out to Greenville where Mike Torres was living, and I lived in his house for a month. And I met all the Greenville guys, and I met David Dodge. I had met Dodge on the first Buddy Tour. This is not a good hit. I didn't prepare for the Buddy Tour conversation.
Did you prepare for other conversations?
I was doing yard work all day, so I didn't really do anything.
I didn't prepare questions either because I was skiing and I was skating.
Hell yeah, great. No, Buddy Tour is a video series that I've made that Ian has also made, and we've worked on together. The most recent videos that have been called Buddy Tour have been videos that I've made, and then Ian makes like Buddy VT or like Buddy VT2 or say Buddy VT3. I'm thinking Buddy VT4, but I do have like 3 separate trips of footage on my computer that Ian's been bugging me to finish making the video for. And I was like disappointed that it wasn't my vision for it because I made a soundtrack for it, as I'd said. And sorry that thing keeps popping up and buzzing, but I had made a soundtrack for a skate video and I had a vision for it. And after I'd done all the work making the music and trying to piece it all together, it just wasn't what I hoped it would be, which was a sort of like skate video about skate videos. It was very like collage art and like a bunch of other skate videos cut into it, like referencing and like a bunch of in jokes that maybe even only I would get, but like definitely jokes that at the very like rollerblade video heavy enthusiasts, hardcore enthusiasts like myself at some point would probably pick up on. Jeff Phillips did a similar thing with one of his videos recently. I think it was Tripolar. He did a lot of like allusions to other older influential skate videos that I really appreciated. Also, Jeff Phillips is just an unbelievably talented skater, so that's a delight to watch always. But I appreciated that video for his like little allusions. Allusions. Anyway, so I never made 10. It just wasn't the video I wanted it to be. And I never really got over that. And I've lately not really been, I mean, really since I started making music, which is like so immediately gratifying and like so tactile and like immediately pleasurable, as opposed to making a skate video, which is just like tedious nuance, just like trimming a clip and like nudging it over and then trimming it and nudging it and trimming it and nudging it. And does the song work? Is the tone right? Is everyone at equal time in the video? And then you're like, is this a skate video others will also want to watch? Does this make them hyped? Is this just like a documentary? There's so many things. You're gone. Am I gone? What's going on?
I'm gone. I was just checking something on my phone.
Okay, cool. So I have not made 10, and I sort of thought it might be the final Buddy Tour video under that moniker, and I will make it. I just have to figure out what it is, because now the footage is so old that it doesn't feel. It feels best used as like a nostalgic thing,
right?
Like, the skating's not current anymore, and I don't know that it's any of our like best skating, so it feels like either it's a documentary of those trips in the past, or what I might do is like a full like Buddy 1 through 10, like sort of not retrospective,
like a best
but
of?
like no, not a best of, but I like a like maybe a summary of like all these great times and trips.
Okay, yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, I love the Buddy videos and the Buddy crew. Like, they're all really fun to watch. And now I'll post some of the Vermont ones below, and I'll go ahead and link to your YouTube channel so people can watch some of these Buddy videos. Or are they Vimeo? What are they on?
I think most of them are on Vimeo, and then Buddy 6 got knocked off for copyright infringement. I used the Police instrumental, Every Breath You Take. I watched that video recently because Ian was in town a couple weekends ago, and we watched Buddy 6 together, and I was like, why is there like a 20-minute scene of us just like hanging out? It's so long. It's fun to go back and watch. Maybe sure you know this, like to go back and watch old videos and be like, why did I do that? Or what was I thinking there?
Which was the video that starts out the intro with like all the sex toys?
Buddy 6.
That's Buddy 6. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was an excellent intro, and I feel like it threw the mood for certain people right from the get-go.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, the whole video is like Satan themed. I actually think that was one of my better, minus the like very extended part of not skating. I think that video was pretty fun to watch.
It was a really good video.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was one of, and it was memorable, which is great because there's a lot of memories. I mean, a lot of videos, especially online.
Oh yeah,
that you like them, but you don't really remember them. They kind of just disappear because there's so many.
Yeah,
So,
it's interesting how that has like how videos and the media format has like shape skating. And I was talking to someone about this recently. I've been wondering about the future of Instagram because it's pretty unpleasant to be on the app, but that's where mainstream rollerblading lives now. And I think all of us are maybe too old. It seems like I'm of an age bracket of people who will not be migrating to TikTok, which is where the younger kids seem to be. And so I wonder what's going to happen to rollerblading. Like, I wonder where the future of rollerblade, does it die on Instagram? Does it?
well, I mean, I feel like YouTube still kind of bridges both people.
Yeah, I guess I'm just not on YouTube, so I'm
because YouTube has stories now or shorts, or they have the shorts, which is like the reels. I mean, TikTok. I mean, TikTok. If politicians have their way, TikTok's gonna be gone anyway, right? I mean, they're trying to ban it.
Yeah, Facebook gets their way.
So I mean, but we'll see. We'll see. I feel there could be something new. There's always something new, right? I mean, look how fast Facebook took over MySpace.
Are we gonna go? Are you willing to like? There's a new like social media culture we have to be involved in, but we're all getting up there in age.
Well, for me,
I don't know.
I will, because I always use those things for marketing, right? So it's like, for me, it's different. It's not like I'm just like randomly have a page. I use all those things. I have like 6 Instagrams, like 7 Facebook pages or more. Like, because I use them for different things and different projects. So, but I feel like the average person at a certain age probably will not transition.
Yeah, I wonder if Instagram is the final stop for a lot of people.
It's quite possible. I'm going to go back into the chat. We had a few questions that we missed. Comments. Back to your lobster rolls story, Aldelega. Aren't lobsters technically insects?
Shut up, Al. Sorry. I think
good.
You're cool.
Insects. And okay, close to lobster. Well, not really close, but kind of a miniature version. Really popular in Texas. Crawfish. Do you like crawfish?
Is that a question?
Yes, because I really miss crawfish boils in Austin.
I left a crawfish boil at work the other day because I was like, okay, well, I'm going to preface this story in a way that I already regret bringing up, which is that I celebrated my 5th anniversary with my partner, Olivia, not this past week. Yeah, this past weekend. And she surprised me by basically blindfolding me and taking me to an airport. And then I did not know where I was going. And it was very fun. But we ended up in the Virgin Islands. And It was surreal. Wow. Yeah, it was real. It was a really amazing gift.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was truly incredible. And I feel like bad even like bragging about it, but it was amazing. And it was such an amazing gift to receive. But while I was there, I was snorkeling and I was hanging out with fish and I was with the coral reef, which, did you know the coral reef is an animal?
Yeah.
It's insane. It's an alien. Green coral. I just have been like so enchanted and entranced by like undersea life and tropical sea life. And sorry, people pulled up at my house and I didn't know who they were. They're friends. It's fun. Okay. So I just left this like magical place where I was like swimming among the fish and I was like chasing them and I was able to touch them and it was amazing. I didn't touch the coral reef. Do not fear. Don't touch the coral reef. Anyway, so I had all this in mind fairly recently. And then I went to this crawfish boil that was happening outside of my workplace. And I was just like staring at them in a bucket, so sad for them. And I was like, oh my God, am I going vegan again? Why can't this makes me so sad. All these little guys are about to be boiled alive. That sucks. And I left. I mean, I was there for about 5 minutes before I drove away. Do I like crawfish? They're fine. Cody loves them. I am a little turned off to eating seafood at the moment because I just had this very wonderful underwater experience. I'm sure I will. I eat chicken and I have pet chickens. So I'm sure it's a temporary emotional state, but right now I'm not really into eating crawfish. This is a long no.
I got you. I think we'll tie it in. You know, when I first moved back to Austin, the first event we held was at Mueller, and we had the crawfish boil. Were you there?
And I don't think so.
At the Mueller ramp?
Oh, I think I showed up late to that. I showed up
Yeah.
after everyone had
That was
eaten.
a-
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
a
like
good
already
session.
getting dark.
All right, and back to food. And this is a question that's been lingering in the live chat since we started. And
What?
I've kind of just been waiting for more people to ask and ask.
About food?
About the beans, the
Shut
Danny
up.
beers.
God damn it.
And this is something that kind of went viral. And like, what are your thoughts? Like, first of all, why did you do it? You just ordered a pair of beers and dumped beans in them, and then you post a photo, and then everybody saw it, and it got viral to not just bladers, but to lots of people.
Yeah. I don't like that. Yeah, I thought you might bring this up. Were I surprised by how big the beans and the Danny Beers thing blew up? Yeah, I was. It ruined my life for several months. I still, to this day, anytime anyone puts a bean inside anything, I know about it. My inbox is filled still weekly with bean jokes. It wasn't the best thing I've ever done. And I feel very grateful now that when people talk about me, because there was a period where it felt like if I had died tragically in like a car accident or something, people would be like, "Oh, Michael Kraft died," and someone would say, "Who?" And they would say, "The bean guy. You know, he filled the skate with beans.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's dead." And they would go, "Oh." And now at least when that happens, they'll go, "Oh, that guy who like on his skates died." Anyways, I'm glad I'm less known for the bean thing now as I was. I didn't think it was going to blow up. I thought it would be like a weird joke that a couple people on my story would see. I sent Danny a message apologizing for it because I was worried that it had overshadowed his like skate release. And I'm sure that's a really like amazing feeling to like get the skate with your name on it. You design it, you spend months thinking about it, anticipating it. It finally is released into the world. You're going to see people skating your skate. And then some fucking dude fills it with beans. And like, that is what I felt bad that it maybe overshadowed his skate release. And I genuinely felt bad about it. And I apologized. He said he thought it was fine. I think he said he dug the vision was his exact phrase.
That's funny. Is Danny somebody you knew beforehand?
No, I think I met him very briefly at Blading Cup. We like said a couple words. We said hello, but I don't know him.
And as far as doing it in the first place, like what was the idea behind it? Like, why did you do it? And what was like any reasoning?
I'm impulsive. I've had an idea that I thought would be funny. And I thought an unboxing video would be funny to like, and then never address the fact that the skate had beans in it was funny. I thought it would be funny. I never put that video back on the internet because oh my God, the other day, Cedric, the singer of the Mars Volta, posted that on his story. He posted a picture of the bean skate, which was so weird to see that. But
isn't Mars Volta from El Paso?
I mean, Cedric and Omar are from El Paso.
Were you a Mars Volta fan?
I still am. I think they're very good.
So how did that feel having them post the bean?
That's part of the surreal like feeling about it. I don't know. It felt like this like band I had like a personal connection with, and then also this, I don't know. It felt like a weird when worlds collide in such a strange way. It was just an odd moment. I think Ryan Rasmussen sent me the story. It was like, Cedric posted this.
That's hilarious.
Hey, it's still making the rounds. I still see it pop up every now and again. But
have you ever met him?
Ryan Rasmussen?
No. Cedric.
Have I ever met him? No, I don't think I've met him. But when At the Drive-In reunited, I like lost my mind and I like left work to go see the show. I just walked out. I worked at Joanne Fabric at the time. It's fine. But I like went down to the venue because it was a secret show in Austin. and I went to where it was, and I was like, they were doing sound check, and it was like iPhone tickets only. You could only buy tickets through an iPhone. It was like a weird period. That may still happen. I don't know. But I couldn't get tickets. And why am I telling this story? Oh, because the closest I've got to meeting him was yelling a song to him while they were doing sound check, and then they played the song. So basically, we were best friends.
Awesome. Now you can tell him if you see him again, hey, I'm the bean guy.
Hey, I'm the bean guy. And he'll say, aren't you the guy? So I thought you were.
All right. And Spook Wackadoo. Kraft is so friggin' creative. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I agree with you, Spook. And Spook also, thanks for doing this, Jan. I'm glad you're watching this, and I'm glad you're a fan of Michael skating, because I am as well. Hopefully, everyone in this chat is too, because Michael has some awesome shit. And if you want to see more of it, check him out on Instagram. Give him a follow and watch his skating, and leave comments. Let him know what you think, or if you want some inspiration, he's your man. How many old face wheels did you buy still have left?
They're right here.
From that mountain. Thanks for your question. Super chat.
I have this many left.
Okay, where did you get those? Because Frank Stoner also had a box of them. Was that amazing?
Someone from Brian Lusk, who was an old BMAGger. I think I just happened to be on Facebook 5 or 6 years ago at a moment when he had posted a box up in Blade Trade, and I was like, "Yo, me, I will. I'll whatever, send him." And I sent him some money, and he sent me the wheels, and I've had a ton of these boys for a good number of years now, and I actually really love these wheels. These Profile, excellent.
Are they all the same size or what?
Yeah, they're all 60.
Is that the same stash that Frank Stoner got wheels from? The same guy?
Yeah, I think there was an eBay. There was a bunch up for auction on eBay in the mid-aughts, and they all scattered. And I don't.
Yeah,
I got one stuck on me, so
that's amazing.
What's so creative?
What's crazy is back in the 90s when rollerblading was really big. I organized a bunch of contests in Austin, and I would hit up Synths. They had 976 and Supercomputer Robot and all these brands back then, and they would send boxes like that, a full box of wheels for prizes, or just to throw out, because they had so much. Most brands now, their full run of wheels is 4 boxes, right? So
yeah,
sending out a quarter of a modern wheel company's inventory for one contest, which was pretty wild back then.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you're dealing with multiple commas in your pay, and not just the one. But 666 is my favorite skate. Thank you, Troy.
It is a good one.
Troy, right. I believe that is Troy from Rochester, who's a great dude.
Okay, awesome. I just saw that there's a skate park for sale outside of Rochester. It looks pretty cool. It was on the mini ramp. There's a mini ramp Facebook group, and somebody's selling it's all skate light and everything for $4,000 for this whole skate park. It looked pretty sick. If anybody in Rochester is looking for a skate park for your house,
Grant's
ramp. Grant's got a fun ramp at his house. Have you skated at his mini ramp?
I've never skated it. It looks amazing.
Yeah, he's got an awesome setup. Little garage apartment with his mini ramp, and
explains why
room for some grind boxes.
Being talented, sickening.
He's so amazing, isn't he?
Beautiful long hair.
Yeah, luscious. And his mom lives, an hour south of me, so I don't really see him too often. But it helps bring him out for the Vermont trip because he can visit his mom.
See you there, Grant.
Grant, come out. And Shawn Michelson, want to know which island you are on.
St. Croix.
There you go. And Aldalega, the point about Instagram being the last stop for blading is a very good one and scary.
I don't know if it's true. It's just a thought, you know? I mean, YouTube, as Jan said, is still relevant. I don't know, because it's how I personally communicate with people. It's like it's my social media. It's how I talk to people. It's how but it's like shaping the way, I mean, both literally and well, I guess just literally. No, it's shaping how we experience rollerblading now too, because it's short form media. Longer skate videos are becoming increasingly rare, and we're exposed to it constantly. And I find myself overexposed to rollerblading all the time, where I like get very particular about what I want to watch, and sometimes I just like will scroll past so much good skating because I've seen so much of it. It's
I
weird.
also feel like yes, there's a lot of good skating, but there's a lot of people of every skill level posting online.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like it's really good for skating because you can relate to different skaters a lot easier than like watching full videos or stuff. You can just follow one person who's like maybe as good as you or a little bit better or like really good or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people. There's a lot. I think right now you have a lot of back in the day, back when you grew up, or when I was growing up, it's like the most influential skaters were like the best skaters, right? But today, you don't necessarily have to be a good skater to be influential. It's like maybe having personality and learning how to skate, and if people want to learn how to skate too or whatever. So it's definitely lots changed in skating today.
Yeah, before I was thinking about this podcast this afternoon while I was doing yard work, and I was thinking about how it used to be a DVD would come out, and that would be what skating was for the next couple months. We would like watch a video and go, oh, well, we're all doing set slides now, or what hurricane set slides are right, or we're doing like true savannas or whatever, full cab true savannas. That would be like the thing that we all started doing. And that almost doesn't happen anymore. Colin Martin like reactivated that a couple of times, but
that's another skater who is so good.
So good. So good.
Unbelievable.
A brain that rollerblading is so blessed to have.
Yeah.
He's great. And I mean, not just a brain, a body too. Look at the body on that guy. No, he's a great skater. But yeah, the way that we experience skating is because it's so immediately available all the time. There's like no breaks between it. So any kind of skating you want is always available. Any level of skating you want is always available. I hadn't thought about it in terms of like skill level. That is true and interesting. I wonder, you could curate based on what you can like project seeing yourself into. Like you like watch a skate video and you kind of project yourself. Well, I don't, maybe I'm universalizing. Often I will watch a skate video and be like, could I do that? I can watch a trick and like imagine what it felt like to do it. And that's a kind of exciting part for me. But I think it's because I've had a lot of experience skating that I don't know other people can like necessarily do that.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, very few people can actually relate. Like, if you just started skating, you can't really relate to any of the tricks and like leading the blind, right?
Sure.
Like, I mean, you'd be like, I can't do any of that, or you watch somebody's, journey to skating that you can relate to, and then maybe later you can watch some of those videos to get a little bit of inspiration, but you can't really watch those videos and be like, starting out, that you're gonna actually do that, because it's kind of that's kind of
I remember being depressed by leading the blind when it came out. I mean, obviously I thought it was incredible, but I remember thinking that I will never be that good. And that was at a time period where it felt like skating was only, why is this? Okay. It was only, no, I like this direction. It was only going up. And it really did sort of peak at leading the blind in a way that I think other people have commiserated this feeling with me, where it felt like I will never be that good, and that sucks because I want to be in the video, I want people to think about me the way I think about these guys.
Right.
And then it was right after that, I think I actually maybe talked about this on the last podcast I was on, which was the how to be unpopular in like 2014 or something. I think we talked about this exact thing, but it's still true. It's still true that after that Road to Nowhere came out, and then suddenly skating could be little but stylish, and that was like, oh, cool. Like there's still places to go other than up, other than amplitude. There was like, how do you do the trick? And that was like a thing that it felt very like what's the word? It felt very revelatory, I suppose. Where I was just like, oh, I don't have to think about skating as only amplitude. I can think about it in terms of like artistry or control. Not that obviously all the guys in that video had control, but anyway, I feel like I had an opportunity to make this interesting, and I did not. So
it's been 15 years, right, since those videos came out.
15 years. Let's move on.
You got depressed watching it, but today, 15 years later, you are, it's a different type of skating, but you're influential, just like those videos were influential. But I feel like it's more, like you said, you get depressed, you can never do these crazy tricks. But watching you influential, it's more achievable because you're skating parks and stuff like that, and it's more creative, and I feel like it's just as cool, or if not cooler. People always, on Facebook, they're like, "Oh, it's going to save rollerblading. Show leading the blind to people." I've always felt like leading the blind would make people quit skating because, or not want to skate because it's too, you can never achieve those tricks. That's why I feel like today all these beginner YouTube channels, making skating relatable to the average person is much more important than showing them some crazy stunts, from 20 years ago.
Yeah. It's also, it's like it's dangerous and entertaining, but it doesn't look fun. And I think that I hope my skating looks fun to people.
Your skating definitely looks fun to people. You wouldn't be, cool. People wouldn't be talking about you on every YouTube channel if your skating didn't look fun.
Yeah, I say that, and I often have a really bad time skating because I'm really hard on myself about my ability, and sometimes I feel very frustrated that I can't get something, even though it's in my head and I understand how all the movements work. I will get frustrated at my inability to get something first try, and or 20th try. And so sometimes it's not fun at all, but that's even that discomfort and frustration is a part of the there is still a sort of pleasure in that. There's the pleasure in the work, and I guess this is an apology to everyone who skates around me and sees me deflecting all their compliments. I'm having a good time even if I don't look like it. Anyway, what were you saying?
How do you feel like your skating has peaked right now? Do you feel like you're best?
Peaking? God, I hope not. I hope that I still have somewhere to go. I don't think so.
You feel like you're progressing. Or is your skating just completely transformed? How do you view your skating today as, compared to how you skated 10, 15 years ago?
I was thinking about that recently because I used to think that I peaked in 2007 because I could 720 both ways or whatever. And I did fakie 540 Mizu. And I was like, okay, I am technically good now. And because I could do kind of harder tricks, but with very little to no style. And I was just kind of fumbling around in freestyle Genesis. But for years, I actually did think that I had peaked early on, and I was just sort of because I don't have the same variety of tricks that I once had, but I do think that the tricks I have now, I'm pretty good at, decent at enough anyway. And I watch old skate clips of myself and oh, I was really not good. I do feel like I am skating the best I have ever skated. I hope I haven't peaked. I would like to think there's new places to go still and more terrain to explore. I'm counting on it because that's the best part of skating for me right now.
Is there anything that you've been thinking of exploring that you haven't done yet? Any types of maneuvers or spots or I don't know, blending different things?
There are, but I don't want to talk about them because I want them to be a fun surprise. But
all right, that works. That's perfect. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see all that stuff that comes from you. We're going to go back a little bit because we neglected some of the questions. Aldelega again. You can answer this quick. This goes back to Ryan saying crawfish are bugs too.
That's not a question.
Al asking on the insect tangent, how does Michael feel about alternative but not vegan protein sources, specifically lab-grown meat and insect protein?
A classic question. I have not given that much thought, Al. I'm not a conscious consumer, really. I there was a time in my life where that was like my personality, but I have grown away. My thoughts around it have evolved, or at least they've become less myopic than they were. How do I feel about alternative non-vegan protein sources, specifically your lab-grown meat? I mean, it seems like a little icky to me, but if I ate it and didn't know, I think it's fine, right? If we all ate lab-grown burgers, that's fine. And we didn't know, what's the difference?
Yeah. I mean, definitely. And most people don't know what they put in their mouth. Put in their mouths anyway.
I don't know where any of the. I mean, I don't know where a lot of the food I eat comes from, and I do know.
I fully agree, with, especially in this country where there's very limited regulation on things. And Al's on point tonight. Lots of questions tonight on In Now. Ruminations on the moral impacts of legume-based comedy on professional athletes in minor action sports. All right.
Are
next one.
Beans legumes?
Yeah, they are. Beans are legumes. That's I noticed from diets I've been on. No legumes, which is beans. All right. And then Colin is the blading equivalent of Rodney Mullen as far as impact on a sport and opening up invisible doors people didn't know were there. I think Colin is very good and has an impact on the sport, but I feel like his impact should have been greater than it has been. Because I still feel like, a lot, if people know who Colin is, but
yeah,
I don't feel his reach is as far as it should have been, like in his history of skating.
He's definitely like a favorite skater's favorite skater kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of those. There's a lot of really like good, talented skaters who never really got like the mainstream cred. Jeff Phillip was one of them. Colin put out one edit and overnight changed rollerblading. The next day, everyone were trying to imitate the like 6 tricks in that video. 25 cents on Vimeo.
I'll have to find that again because I haven't seen that.
People are still doing that stuff. But yeah, his like more recent like coil compression stuff looks so hard and also tough on your back that I've not really explored any of it.
He was doing seminars on those what year is it?
Oh, really?
Coil compression. He did like, I think 2 days of talking about it. And I didn't stick around for the whole thing, but there's quite a bit of people there who were interested, in learning about it.
Incredible to watch. Every time he puts it, he's one of the skaters that I'll like stop what I'm doing if I see a clip come on the internet of, I'll immediately will watch his clip. I'll stop mid conversation to watch a Colin Martin clip. Absolutely.
And who's someone like, if you could skate with anybody tomorrow, like who's your favorite person that you would, maybe you haven't skated with them, but you would love to skate with?
Ooh, I haven't thought about that. Who would I love to skate with? That's a great question. The obvious answer is my close friends, but that is not the answer I want to give, even though I love all of my friends. This seems like too easy of an answer, but I have like, I would like to skate with Todd and Joey once before I die in a car crash and they lament the bean guy. I would just love to hang with those guys. I feel like partly because of the parasocial nature of the internet, I feel like I've watched them and know them to some extent, at least Joey, for a number of years, and we've never actually met. So
I would have figured you had met those guys.
No,
just because you've been on a podcast and you guys are kind of tied in with similar skating.
I think they're pretty insular. I don't think they like go anywhere. But they
back in the 2000s, they would come down to San Diego and stuff. But
really?
But that's 20 years ago.
Yeah, I've never met them. They both seem like super great dudes. Their impact on rollerblading is hard to overstate. I think even just like a chill park session with them would be fun. I don't need it to be amazing. It would just, I don't need it to happen at all. But if I had to choose, if I was on a podcast and someone asked me that question, I would say Todd and Joey. Sure.
Awesome. Well, hopefully that can happen sometime, because that would be pretty cool to see you guys in an edit together or something.
Maybe on
like
my
that.
10th anniversary, Olivia will blindfold me and fly me to Kamloops.
That would be amazing. Now, you were skating, like, I don't know, it's probably like 6 or 7 years ago. You had those really long K2 frames.
Oh, yeah.
That you were skating. And how did you get those? Like, those were like prototypes, or?
How did I get those?
Was that through Joey and them? Because I know that they were affiliated with K2.
I honestly don't remember. They may have sent me those frames, or I may have just bought them. I don't totally.
Was that a frame that came out? Because I don't remember that being a production.
I think it only came out on like the really large size skates.
Okay.
They're really
big. They were really big on your skates.
Yeah, I watched those clips before, after years later, and I was like, oh, that looked terrible. And I think it made my skating worse. I don't think I was using them correctly.
No, I feel like there's definitely a maybe today, if you revisited them. Do you still have them?
Yeah, I actually have 2 sets. I know Ian had a set. I think he sent me his, or maybe I bought them from somebody. I have 2 sets.
That'd be interesting to see, like, if you could rocker them like you do today. Because right now your rocker setup. Well, explain your setup for aggressive skating. You ride 2 different wheel sizes, right?
I had been. I actually had been skating flat for a little bit.
Okay.
Recently, and then I recently switched to some new wheels, and I've not broken them in yet, so it still feels pretty flat. I need to get a natural rocker worn into them. But the easiest way to get a rocker is to skate 2 different size wheels. But yeah, I haven't thought of revisiting them. I try not to switch up my setup too much, because I get used to it and I feel comfortable in it, and I don't like not feeling like I can't do stuff, because I get mad at myself, as I mentioned earlier. But they're in your closet, Jumbo.
So Cody's in the house. He either has yours or he has his own.
This is a Cody from one of the Jumbo episodes. Cody gifted me this for.
Awesome.
They were the longest. Yeah, they were, Sean.
The longest unnatural frames. And Jay is in the house.
Jake Urink?
Yeah.
Oh, baby. That is the beard he gave me. Yeah.
At PCL.
Yeah, I got this for stealing. What's his name's trick? God, I'm a little tipsy. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. It is my man Caleb.
I had to tell Cody last time that rail is called PCL, because now they just call it like campus rail or something. But
yeah, the PCL
rail.
Campus library.
And one question I saw earlier in the chat is, most of your clips you're seeing on your Instagram are park clips. And obviously there's been some street clips of you on Jumbo, that PCL rail clip. What do you prefer skating? Do you prefer street? Do you prefer park? And which one do you actually skate the most?
I actually skate park the most for pure convenience. I live pretty close to a park that I post often. And I really like House, which is the other park I'm often skating, that one ledge. If you've seen any of my Instagram clips recently, you've seen the House Park ledge. I really like that ledge. Slides to my liking. I like street. It just has so many more complications to it, as far as like busts. You gotta make sure the spot's right. The run up can be bad. Does it slide okay? Is everyone gonna meet there? Is there parking? You get kicked out. It's always, there's so much more. It's so many more variables to it than showing up at a park and just putting your skates on and going. I love watching street skating more than I like watching park skating. And the ground at park is always good. I mean, for me, the ground at skate parks is very nice, and it feels good to roll on. So it's when I just want to go skate and like do some things, the parks are always there. But I do enjoy street skating I enjoy watching it more, and I intend to be filming street more frequently, and have been filming more street recently. So
because we skated a lot. I mean, we skated everything, but every weekend you street skated for the most part. And we would do nice skates, and
it's truly, if I had more people regularly texting me to go skate, because Nay used to live here, and Nay would invite me to move downtown, and I'll be right there. And so we filmed a couple like night edits, just like cruising around, finding spots. I just really hate skating alone. So even though I could go skate street alone all the time, I just would rather go skate the park where it's easier.
Right, that makes sense. I will say, we talked earlier about how Austin's changed so much. One thing I did like about the change before I left was how much new stuff there's to skate downtown, like all the plazas and like different things, and like bike paths everywhere. It makes skating is fun in Austin. It's just doesn't feel like skating in Austin.
No, I actually a friend of mine had made a comment fairly recently about Austin just looking like suburbs. And I was like, and once he said that, I couldn't unsee it. And so now I'm like, I only want to skate like the grimy stuff that we have. And as close to grimy as we have is like downtown and behind like warehouses. But I have like, that's been in the back of my head as far as like filming street spots now. And it's not wholly true, but I have been thinking about it. But I work downtown, and I've been like walking around on my lunch break and just like photographing skate spots, and like I'll go to a spot and not know what the trick is, and I'll just sit there and like whatever, drink coffee and sort of like figure it out. And that's a fun part of skating for me, is like looking at the obstacle and figuring out how to manipulate it or around it or just incorporate it. Like what's the trick here? We have it's laid out. All we have to do is figure out what the trick is. And so I've been walking around downtown and like figuring and taking pictures of spots, and I have like a pretty nice collection of like weirdo little spots now that I'm excited to go skate.
That's awesome. Do you actually like write down where they're at, or are you gonna forget?
I know where they are. I mean, downtown Austin is not very big.
I used to have, for filming, I used to make like spreadsheets and stuff like for areas, and like because there was like so much stuff you couldn't remember it all.
Totally. Yeah. Dropping pins is useful. I was skating with all the Jumbo boys yesterday, and it seemed like they all had like different pins for every spot. I imagine they have like an extensive like inventory of skate spots around town to just pick, like no matter the neighbor. That's what it felt like. So like, oh, we're in this neighborhood, we got 3 other pins nearby, let's go.
Awesome.
And that's like an invaluable resource to have.
And then Jumbo talking shit. He's best at skating on flat ground.
Yeah, I can't. As soon as I leave the ground, it's over for me.
Ignacio says Miguel Ramos was selling a pair of those K2 frames that are 72 millimeter prototypes. That sounds pretty wild. I never saw them. And Mads Lansing, MK, come skate Mueller after this.
Could be.
Are you gonna go? How hot is it right now?
It's really nice.
So you got to get your skating in while you can, huh? Before summer pops in.
Yeah. No. All right. Maybe Mads, I'll see you there.
See, we had a perfect skating day here yesterday. It was like 41, first hot day of the year.
41?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But it's supposed to get up to like the 60s this week. So 41 is like warm here. That's like flip flop and shorts.
I gotta get let me know when this property in Vermont near you is for sale. I got a snowbird. I can't stay at another Texas.
There's a lot of properties for sale right now, and it's good too because the COVID like rush of moving to Vermont has subsided. It used to be that houses like in Austin would last like 3 or 4 days in the market.
Oh yeah.
People would drive house to house and make offers on
holy
properties.
Shit.
Now it's like everything's sitting again. So it's
a
good time to find a property again.
buy someone's unfinished COVID project.
Yeah.
Half a bathroom installed.
There was actually a house for sale so the guy I do the road trip with here, his name's Miles. He lives more south of me. And there was a house for sale on his street that had a concrete skate plaza behind it.
What?
Yeah, like it was abandoned for sale, and we drove up there and checked it out. Super cool. Like not very big, but it was still like a little skate plaza.
That's incredible.
By the house. Yeah, it's really rad. I just read a 7 days is like kind of like what's the Austin City? What's the newspaper in Austin Chronicle? Okay. So 7 days is like the Vermont version, and it's just an article about some like mountain ramps here in this area, Northeast Kingdom, like mini ramps in the woods on top of mountains and stuff that I had no idea existed. So that's kind of cool.
Let's go.
So let me see. We're approaching 8:45 Eastern Standard Time, 7:45 your time. We're going to go for about 15 more minutes. I like to wrap these up about 2 hours. And my girlfriend has a meeting at 9, and I don't want to use all the bandwidth. So, we do live in Vermont. If anyone has any questions for Michael, go ahead and post those right now. If you do enjoy this interview, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. If you haven't already, hit the bell icon to be notified. Anytime I upload new videos, look at my list real quick. Oh, one thing I wanted to touch on while people get their questions together. Michael, back when you were living in El Paso, you spent a lot of time on BMAG, the BMAG message board.
I'm surprised it took this long to be
it's the second thing on my list, and the last question. Now, I'm sure there was a lot to do in El Paso, so you were on BMAG a lot.
Yeah.
The most posts, right?
Yeah.
The most posted. What was your name on?
It started as I am Neo, and then it became UM Snookums at one point, and then I made a separate account and racked up a ton of posts on that one. What was it? Be famous. BE-famous. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Those message board days were, BMAG message boards was really big.
Yeah, it was where rollerblading lived. I mean, I don't know that I would have stuck with it if it wasn't for that community. It was like truly vital to me sticking with this thing.
Message boards, there was a few back in the early days, and those were like when I had one on Scum back in the 90s, and when I did my first trip to Europe, I was able to find people to stay with in every city just because of the message boards. Yeah. And it was like, and that's a beautiful thing about skating. It's kind of like a big family, and you can meet people. It's a lot easier to meet people now with Facebook.
Totally.
But, message boards were really crucial for me to travel really cheap back in those days.
Yeah.
Which I really liked. Is there anything you miss about VMAG?
I don't think I miss about it.
About the message board?
That's a good question. I don't know if this is like a good answer. I miss the pace of it. It was so slow. And especially for me, because all those posts I made were on dial-up. But I miss that it was like, it's just a different time. It was like it was the golden era of the internet before it became this fucking shithole we all have to endure now. It was like a fun place to be. I guess that's broader than the specific message board. What do I miss about the message board? It was like, I grew up on that website. I posted about major life events on there to mockery, but I still did it, I don't know. It was really crucial to me sticking with skating and feeling like I had a community, and I met lifelong friends on that message board, and I'm very grateful for it.
Now, that's the next question I was going to ask you. Who's your best friend you've met on BMAG?
My best friend? Well, I would be remiss not to talk about Ian Kopp, buddy tour partner in crime number 1, 2. Yeah, he was just here. We had a great time. It felt so good to just like skate around and just like, you know, it seems silly to say like olden days. It was like such a low pressure weekend. We had the best time.
That's awesome. Yeah, Ian's really cool, and Ian's a big Vermont fan too because his favorite beer is Hill Farmstead, which is right by my house.
Yeah.
So I actually have a closet full of Hill Farmstead beers for him for when he comes to Vermont again. Yeah.
That is not to say that I don't love all of my skate friends. I truly do love all of you. But as far as like best friends or whatever from the message board, you know, Ian and I are still regularly in touch.
That's awesome that you guys are still skating and skating well. I mean, Ian shreds it too
He's so good.
Some of the stuff he's done on the Vermont trip is just mind blowing.
Yeah, we'll skate. He'll like send me clips that are like they're for videos, but he'll send them to me. So but they're like stuff that I would like jokingly suggest. He sent me some clips recently that I would never do. He's a very talented skater.
Yeah, really cool. And if you haven't seen Ian skating, check out the Buddy Tour videos. What do you think the best video from the Buddy Tours that he skated the best in? Is there one that would stick us out?
That I skated the best in?
No, that Ian skated the best in.
Oh, good question. That's a good one. Damn, I think Buddy 6 is like really jam-packed. No. Buddy 5. I talk about this trick with him all the time. He does this weirdo like long leg boy like gap trick in Buddy 5 that I still it's not worth talking about. That trick is nuts. But watch Buddy 5. He doesn't like his skating in that video. He's not happy with it. I think that trick is great. His best skating is, it seems rude to suggest an old video, but there's so much of him in Buddy 6 that you gotta give it up. That was like a 2-week trip we took, so there's a fair amount of Ian skating in it.
That was, I mean, yeah, we had talked about it earlier, but that was a really good video. And yourself, what's your favorite video you've skated in? Like, what's your favorite skating in a video that you've done?
I don't know. My answer is none of it, but that seems like such a shitty answer. We did a Colorado road trip once where I didn't bring aggressive skates and my skating wasn't good, but I had such a good time. It was just like Court 2016 or something. And I think that's on my Vimeo page. I remember just being really happy with like going on a skate trip and not having aggressive skates and feeling like I was still able to like have a good time. It felt like I had really like, that was the first time I think I had felt like I had advanced beyond aggressive skating and could still just like skate and have a good time.
Okay.
And that felt like a crucial step for my like experience of rollerblading. It's not my best skating and it doesn't feel like a good answer to your question, but that's what comes to mind and we're live. So I'm going to go with that one. One of the Court trips. Colorado road trip 2016, I think.
I went on pretty much most of those when I lived in Austin. And we would run into your crew randomly also in Colorado. Yeah. There was maybe David Dodge who split his shin open at some park. Somebody split their shin open at a skate park. I don't know if it was Dodge. Maybe he did. It was somebody. It was somebody from your crew. I don't remember who though. Now, Jamie is in the house. Favorite grocery store answer, H-E-B. Now, I always like H-E-B, but that's just because it's like a classic, Austin grocery store. It's
one up the street.
That's where I used to go get my tickets for shows at the Urban Center. Bought my Cure tickets there, back in like 89. Ignacio, Ice Dogs for life.
B-Mag joke.
And Etsy, miss you, Michael.
Etsy, hello. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you. I hope I get to see you soon.
And Ignacio, it still lives strong on Facebook, not dead yet.
Ice Dogs?
Well, I think that refers to one of the conversations we had earlier. Would you consider you M. Snookums the king of B-Mag?
I don't think about BMAG really. So some people sometimes will like come up to me and be like, remember the good old days on BMAG, and like make the inside jokes, and that feels like that was a different person. That's so long ago. I'm not him. I don't know.
I don't remember anything from message boards really. I mean, I wasn't as ingrained in it as some people were.
I lived and breathed.
But I don't really remember much from them. I remember drama, and stuff like that, and I remember being like at some point that I hope they disappear because there was like a lot of they got very nasty at some point,
We're all canceled if that ever sees the light. Hold on one second.
Ignacio wants to know Jumbo or Life Plus.
Oh, well, Jumbo's still in its infancy, so we'll see if it surpasses the limited splash that Life Plus made.
Yeah, well, I don't even think...
But I have a Jumbo shirt, and I don't have a Life Plus shirt.
Oh, I have some Life Plus matches I could gift you when you come to Vermont.
What?
Yeah, they made matchbooks.
All right, well, okay. Jumbo
and Life Plus, and Life Plus is, it was like the first DVD video magazine thing. One of the first DVDs. Drew was, the 616 video was the first DVD, I believe, and then Life Plus was like the second, and which he did both of them.
Yeah, I remember. I only had a few of them. I think I only ever saw like 2 of the Life Plus DVDs, and then the 7 days documentary or the interview like thing. It was a 7 days with different skaters, or 1 day with 7 different skaters, I think is what it was.
The 7 days video.
Yeah.
Or with the Life Plus one?
Yeah, do you remember that?
The one, not the one with Jason Howard.
Jason Howard was in it.
Yeah. That wasn't, I don't think it was Life Plus though. That was the V3000.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that was different.
Shows what
now we have a bunch of Austin people in the house a lot. We got Cody, Ignacio, Ryan Rasmussen, Caleb Benavides, Heath Burley. Will the skeleton suit come back?
I don't think I have that one anymore.
And what is a skeleton suit for people who don't know?
There was an edit early on. I had some like tights with skeleton legs on them, and we filmed one of Ian's early edits. It may have actually been the very first one we did together. I remember Ian being like, "You sure you want to skate in that?" or something, and I was like, "Yeah, this is just what I wear, skeleton tights all the time." It was a different time fashion wise. Yeah, a regrettable look all together.
Well, we are on the 2-hour mark. We've got one more question I'm pulling from the audience. Who would win in a game of skate on a quarter pipe, Jan or Heath? Wow. Who would fall the hardest?
I mean, that's the real question.
That's the real question.
I think
probably both of us at the same time
out of it and probably get more hurt than Jan would. And
that's
I think you would miss like high grind or something, and then.
I missed a sweat stance recently at the skate park in Montreal, and I hit my tailbone so hard.
Okay, but while you were doing that, Heath was flying out of the mini ramp, or he was flying out of the quarter pipe, and he landed like in a tree or something.
Somewhere, yeah, because Heath and I do things at the same time. It's like we got this weird, connection where we'll be doing the same thing at different places.
Well, it seems like you both win then, or you both lose.
We both win.
You both lost.
So anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Michael, thank you for coming on the show. Everyone in the live chat, thank you for being part of this episode. I like to keep them at 2 hours. Other than that, it's something I wouldn't watch over 2 hours. So I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. And make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon. Be notified of all new uploads. Let me know in the comments below who do you like to see on this channel, because I don't have any guests lined up for next week. Even though there will be somebody next week. I'm not sure who yet.
Michael Stein. Get that Michael Stein.
That's a great suggestion. So if anyone else has suggestions, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. I'm going to try to do these episodes again here every Sunday or Monday night, weekly, for skate season, which I have a skate season living in Vermont. I have ski season and skate season. Skate season has launched as of last weekend. So we'll be doing skating content, live interviews every Sunday or Monday. So leave those in the description below. And Ignacio is proud of you. Aside of all silly jokes aside, we're so proud of you. And Ignacio was awesome to see him at what was it? Bitter Cold.
Bitter Cold, yeah.
He's such an awesome guy. Really nice.
Iggy is a top tier dude for sure.
You know, he helped me out a lot. You know, he helped me with my car before I moved. So
he helps
I also
everybody.
appreciate Iggy. Very nice dude. So if you're in Austin area, Ignacio is the man.
He truly is.
And Ignacio, Micah Yeager, I've talked to Micah, and he will do it if I get Charles Dunkel on the show.
On the same show?
No, if I do Charles Dunkel first, then Micah would come on. But I have to mentally prepare to get Charles on. Because Charles, I mean, he's great, but he's also, wild. So
yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
So, but Micah's definitely. I would love to get Micah on the show. And you know who I'd like to get on the show too, because they're fun, is Heath Burley.
Heath Burley? Oh, get yourself a little Nay on that show. I think Nay would be.
And Nay, yeah.
Nay's an interesting guest to have.
So this is gonna be a real Texas month, I think, on
Medina. You can get Medina on here.
And Medina's a great option too. I think I was kind of thinking like this is the year I think everyone from Austin is going to come on the show. Is kind of what I was planning, as well as from San Diego and some older Texas cats. But I definitely will not just be doing, Texas people. Definitely going to go out there and interview different people. But yeah, like I said, just if you want to hear somebody on this show, go ahead and post their name in the description below. And I've changed up this show this year. Before I had done lots of questions. We get Caleb on with the Pirates, all the Pirates on the show. That's their crew that they had. But it's more of a conversation. I'm trying to do more of a conversation style this year.
Yeah.
Versus having sheets of questions and stuff like that.
I hope that I answered any of your questions sufficiently for you. I feel like I didn't do a good job, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, no, I think you did fantastic. And it was great to hear about your skating and your history. And Ryan Rasmussen says Jason Howard. Jason Howard's already been on the show. I did him with this is episode 34. I think 31 was Jason Howard. So if you haven't checked out Jason Howard interview, which is really good, go back onto this YouTube channel and find Jason's interview.
Maybe he wants a sequel.
Sequels are good too. There's a couple people I want to do sequels. And Nay rules. Nay's great. Great person. Nay's such a good skater. All right.
Great.
Anyway, everyone, again, thank you so much for joining me. Michael, if you want to stay on channel or on this chat for a second, I'll talk to you when we're done. I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Everyone take care. And we will see you next weekend here on the Dead Now Blading podcast for episode 35 with a guest to be announced. And Michael's petting his kitten.